Okay, hello English Lit A-level students. This is the first of many PowerPoints on the poems of Christina Rossetti that you will need to analyse in paper 3, okay, section B. This is a birthday, okay? So this is a poem of Rossetti's that is mysterious. It raises many questions that are open to interpretation, and that's on purpose. Okay, so it's not like she's not writing a good poem. She's written a poem that does this on purpose to be allusive. Yeah, it alludes to things. So here are some of the questions you might be thinking about as you read the poem. Who is the lover? Yeah, she says, it's the birthday of my life, for my love is come to me. Who is this? Who's going to sit on the dais? And then raise the dais. Is her birthday just a commemoration of the day she was born, or is it a metaphor? The birthday, and in fact, by the end of the poem, it's pretty clear it's a metaphor because she says the birthday of my life. Yeah, so it's like a birthday, but it's more than a birthday. Answers are withheld from the reader, as in other poems of Rossetti's, there is a secret. Okay, so if you've got the poem in front of you, that's probably a good way to use these videos, have the poem in front of you so you can look at this as I say it to you. The structure of the poem is 2 8-line stanzas, and it has alternate rhyme. The even lines all rhyme. I'm not going to read out to you the rhyme scheme there, but you can see how it works. The bees rhyme with the bees. We've got the C's rhyming, all those 3 C's, C, 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 like that. In the second, you've got the B's all rhyming with each other, and then the E's rhyming with each other. So there's only 2 rhymes in each stanza, which if you read to the rhymes, makes these very long lines. There is a regular line length in terms of syllable length, syllable count, and if you think about the rhythm as well, there are 4 pairs. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 of feet in each line. So some of these things on the PowerPoint I have taken from other people's analysis of the poem. And so the argument is that the opening of the poem acts out its own subject matter. So if you want to say something about lyric form, the rhythm of it, where the stress falls, the use of the imperatives, the meter becoming trochaic, these things can be said to open out the subject matter, i.e. Feeling very, very happy, having an outpouring joy. So we hear the speaker's heart in a rhythmical outpouring of joy. The stress falls decidedly but not heavily on the second of the paired syllables. So we're getting didum, 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 the iambic meter. And the crucial words, therefore, heart and the first syllable of sing, are given voice because that's where the emphasis falls. As the speaker uses imperatives in stanza 2, the stress shifts to the first of the paired syllables. Raise me, build me. Yeah, so the stress then falls there and we get trochaic meter instead. So this is a poem where you can actually say something useful and perceptive about rhythm. There are lots and lots of similes. The poem is made up of a series, certainly in the first stanza, and they come from nature, but they're lovely images from nature: happiness, fertility, and beauty. Halcyon means calm, peaceful, and tranquil. So a halcyon sea is a lovely, calm, and tranquil sea. The apple tree covered in fruit. We may remember the tragedy of an apple gathering when the speaker goes to her tree and there is no fruit there. So this is the opposite of that. This is the tree that has gone through the proper natural process, the blossom, and then the fruit has set and is full of fruit, so it's fertile. There is emphatic anaphora. The poem repeats sequences of words at the beginnings of neighbouring lines, and the whole poem is building up to the climax of the last 2 lines. So not all of that is about similes. Yeah, those last 2 points are also about structure, aren't they? In stanza 2, where we move on to the idea of building this beautiful place to sit, this place of celebration, we're in a medieval sounding world. We get archaic medieval diction, the term dais for the throne, the raised throne with a canopy around it, and the reference to there, which is, well, it's black and white fur, but it's also a heraldic design of black and white. So fleur-de-lis and vert are used in medieval heraldic designs. Vert is a black and white pattern, and fleur-de-lis is the flower, Prince of Wales' symbol. The pomegranate symbolised fertility and royalty. It was associated with the Virgin Mary, so in paintings she would sometimes be holding a pomegranate with all the seeds in. Fairly literal, you can understand why that means fertility. A peacock in medieval bestiary, i.e. medieval ideas about animals, could symbolise Christ and resurrection. And so the whole of the imagery is rich, highly colourful, decorative and tactile. And there is a medieval picture to the side there to help you get that idea that that's what medieval art is like. On the shield are fleur-de-lis, in case you didn't know what a fleur-de-lis looked like. So the dais, if you want to picture it in your mind as you're reading the poem, a dais is a raised platform at the end of a hall for a throne and often surmounted then by a canopy. It was an obsolete word since 1600, revived and used historically since 1800. So that idea that she's deliberately choosing old-fashioned lexis, words. Whoever sits on the dais has high status, nobility and royalty. It's the place of honour. And there are two, a king and a queen, sitting on their dais, on their thrones, raised up with canopies over them. So this is one of the poems that we can talk about in the context of the Pre-Raphaelite art movement. Remember, Christina Rossetti's brother was a key member and founder. She herself was highly involved with the Pre-Raphaelite movement. And just to give you that idea of the colours, the medieval settings, the richness, the decorative backgrounds, the detail. So that's what you see in those two pictures. This poem references or reflects the Pre-Raphaelite artistic ideas in its detail, in its subject matter, in its imagery and in its atmosphere. So what's similar in this poem and in Pre-Raphaelite art is the treatment of nature, where you get scrupulously detailed flowers and tendrils, rocks and roots. More importantly, visual detail and feeling come together. Okay, so the visual detail in the poem adds to the feeling of joy and happiness and celebration in the poem. And that's what the visual detail in the Pre-Raphaelite paintings achieved. And also brightness and clarity is a key feature of Pre-Raphaelite painting. And similar use of medieval settings and motifs in Pre-Raphaelite painting and in Rossetti's poem. There are a couple of ways you might want to interpret this poem. There are different ways it has been interpreted. There may be echoes of the Song of Songs, which is a book of the Old Testament, but obviously therefore in the Christian Bible. It's a long love poem, and here's a quote from the King James, I think, translation. As the apple tree among the trees of the wood, so is my beloved among the sons. I sat down under his shadow with great delight, and his fruit was sweet to my taste. He brought me to the banqueting house, and his banner over me was love. Okay, so Christians tended to interpret the Song of Songs as an allegory. Otherwise, it's just a really long erotic love poem. So they tended to read it allegorically, and the love being the love of God for the church or the love of Christ for people. So the love in the poem may be the love of Christ in terms of earthly love, and that's the lover who is anticipated as going to be coming on this great day.